As usual, I talk for 20 minutes and I don't actually get to the point that I was actually trying to make. So here we go. I'm going to try and do this real quick. If you've had a continental gut full of paying stupid fines, stupid fees, charges, taxes, fucking ATM fees, fucking this fee, late fee, that fee, dishonour fee, all this shit. There's a very simple way that I've found through my own personal experience to deal with it. And that is basically your name in capital letters, so Jakob, capital, Kaylee, Callum, whatever. All your name, and it's got to be your full name, so your middle names and everything in capital letters, was incorporated on your birth certificate and underlined. And that's the corporation that deals with fines, fees, taxes, charges, all that sort of shit. And I'm not going to say, you know, don't pay your taxes or don't pay this or don't pay that. Or maybe I am, I don't know. But the thing that happens, and I'll use, you guys can't remember it, but most people can, the example of the Medicare levy that was introduced in Port Arthur after a disaster, funnily enough. And I'm not going to go into the, you know, 2 Volvos and the CIA down there and all that stuff. You can do that on your own. Just Google Martin Bryan. It's a funny story. It's similar to 9/11, similar to all these major events. And it's one thing that happens after these events, and that happened in Australia after that event, was they introduced a Medicare levy. And it's still fucking there. They introduced a GST and it's still there. They introduce a fee, a fine, a charge, a tax, a this, a that. They never take them away. Has anyone ever noticed? Layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon fucking layer of new legislation. Well, it's real simple. In anyone that's ever going to have a claim against you, the only thing you've got to do is ask them to prove it. And to prove it, they need to provide documents. And when you're dealing with a financial fine or a fee or a charge or a tax or even a credit card or a loan or any of this shit, there is never, ever, ever, ever a document with both signatures on it to say that it's a contract. If you haven't got a contract with these fuckwits, if you don't have a contract with them, so this is how it works. You make a contract with someone. Once you're contracted, they send you an invoice, and if you're happy that they've fucking whatever's taken place, you send them the money. You pay them. Without an invoice, you don't pay your bill. And under the law, as a person, you are a corporation. And it's real simple. Capital K, capital I, capital M. Little k, little I, little m. 2 different people. The one that's talking now is the little one. The one that's fucking capitaled is the corporation. And I act for my corporation. So whenever someone sends me a letter or a fine or a fee, and I've been dealing with child support for the last fucking fuck knows how long, because every Christmas they'd empty my bank account and send the money to your mother. If you're listening. That's what they do to everyone. And, you know, most places I don't begrudge it, but I'd already paid mine. I fucking gave everything up front, had a contract signed to say that the choice is you take everything and that's it, or you take fucking 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever it is and I'll pay your maintenance. Anyway, that was the decision. For 7 years after, I'm still paying maintenance to a government that takes it out of my bank. So I got pissed off with it. And I'm not trying to deny you guys money, because that's what fucking, you know, blah, blah, blah. I never have. I've never held anything back. Nothing. But I got forced into a situation because, you know, and I'll call a Suki Lala and say, yeah, it's me fucking medical condition. Every time I forget who I am, I only end up in one place. It's a mental home. Because every time I forget I'm walking around somewhere, I'll guarantee I'm going to break the law. I'm going to do something wrong. If you walk down the street with no ID, you will end up in a mental institution if you don't tell them your name. Real simple. That's just what happens. That's why there's no one laying around walking around on the street anymore. Because if you do it without a wallet or a purse with your photo and your ID in capital letters, because that's a corporation that you got to carry around with you. And I'm trying to explain it as quickly and as fast as I can, because I want it to be able to, for a 10-year-old to understand, for you guys to understand that before you go into an agreement with anybody, understand what your obligations are. And I'm not being an anarchist. I'm not saying... I know people that are doing this, that can do this lawfully and actually eliminate mortgages, $1 million loans, all sorts of funky stuff. That's not how I came across it. I came across it purely by accident to say that if I didn't give my name, nothing can be held against me. And they know it. Now, not everybody's got a mental condition, but what everybody can do, because and you can remember, and probably what I'm trying to tell you is, if somebody's got something against you, all you've got to do is ask them to prove it. Show me a valid proof of claim. And because it's a fine or a fee or a charge or whatever, there's a one-page letter that I've got it from about 8 different sources now, and I've made my own version of it to say, look, I've had enough of you harassing me, and if you ring me, if you phone me, if you fax me, if anyone comes within 100 feet of my house, I'll have you locked up. And quote the last precedents where somebody got paid $180,000 because they trespassed. All that aside, I was forced into a situation where the law not only prevented me from seeing you, but made me pay the kidnapper, the ransom, every Christmas. And I want you to understand that I'm not trying to get out of anything. But I want you to know that you can choose your own path as a free person. And there's no better place, if you're up in Scotland, ask the Freemasons. What are they all about? Being free men and women. I don't know what sort of a life you're living at the moment, but I know you're starting to get to a point where, mobile phones are important. And cars are going to be important soon, and credit cards and all that sort of shit. And if you're going to go into all these sorts of contracts, you need to know what you're getting into. And basically, anything that you think is unjust or unfair, there's a one-page letter to say, "Dear sir, unless you can provide me with a copy of the contract that we both signed, witnessed in affidavit style with a copy of the original invoice that was presented in accordance with the contract, we don't have a deal." To speeding cameras, to fines, to fees, to charges, to passport officers, to all sorts of bullshit. Because I know the only reason that you guys were allowed to leave was because documents somewhere got forged. And anyone can play that game. That's a silly game. That game will end you in jail. That's where that'll end you. Sometimes I think I'm too honest for my own fucking good, because it's left me in a place it's actually not too bad. Aside from missing you guys, my family, my life now is pretty good from what I remember. I'll still check out 3 or 4 times a day and can't remember a fucking thing, but I've been free for quite a while now. And now that I've got a track record, I can use that to come and see you. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I love you.